Extreme Rules is a few hours away, and I'm only doing this because of a few changes to some of the card. Well, not really changes, but some current events that have probably changed my opinion on some of these matches. But first of all, I'm just going to say right now that with the network, it's still technically free for about 4 days, so I don't really know if it's worth it. I mean, it's probably worth a few days of free, of like just not paying for the network. But just know if you do this, in 4 days you will be paying a $9.99 subscription unless you cancel, which you can cancel at any time. You can probably cancel the free trial after watching the pay-per-view if you wanted to, if you really wanted to do that. Depending on some of the things happen on this card, that might be a justified explanation on what might happen to the network here. But first off, let's just go to where is it? Because I think they moved some matches around on the card. Well, on the card they just moved the icons of some of the matches, which is really weird. First of all, the long story of this whole pay-per-view: will Daniel Bryan defend the Intercontinental Championship? Well, what I mean by that is, ever since the European tour, I think we discussed this before, but ever since the European tour, he's been having some issues with his neck, issues with his body again. It's the shades of Extreme Rules last year, which is kind of awkward and ironic in a way. But Daniel Bryan, if he can defend this title in this match, if he's medically cleared, then if this match does go on, I could see Bryan holding on to it. But due to the medical scares he's been having, I would not be surprised if Barrett won the belt off of him. But let's just think if Bryan cannot do it, because that is the main story, and that's probably what's going to happen. Unfortunately, I hate being the bearer of bad news about that, pardon the pun, but, you know, Daniel Bryan has had a hell of a career. Ever since being the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson in Ring of Honor, in Japan and PWG, even to when he was a masked wrestler, you know, which gave him the American Dragon name in Japan. I think it was a masked tournament, I believe. I don't remember exactly when. It was probably Torimon or some promotion that had all masked wrestlers or something like that. That's why Daniels is Curryman. If you didn't know that, that's probably why. Wasn't really well known, but Bryan has had a hell of a career. And I just want to look really quickly at the career of Daniel Bryan, because look at from a WWE standpoint, he has now held every championship with the exception of the Divas Championship, with technicalities with Brie Bella through an issue we could talk about, but at a later time. And yeah, you know, you could win the title in bed a couple times, so what the hell, it happens. He's probably held the belt before. But if you think about it, looking at his career in WWE, he has held every championship there is to hold, with the exception of titles that have been. Well, this actually includes the World Heavyweight Championship that was unified with the WWE Championship to become the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which I call the Undisputed title because it's a stupid name to make it, because you have the World title and the WWE title. That's how it should be, in my mind, or at least make it an Undisputed title. But let's look at his career. I mean, all the titles he has held, it's incredible. Let's see here really quickly. And some of these might not be well known, and if they're not, don't worry about them. The King of the Indies in 2001 at the All Pro Wrestling and the All Pro Wrestling Worldwide Internet Championship, the ASW World Heavyweight Championship, the East Coast Wrestling Association, or the ECWA, which is probably a probably better known promotion than the one I just named. Tag Championship with Loki, the Evolve Match of the Year in Evolve, when Evolve was still growing. It was literally evolving, against Minuni Sawa. The Extreme Canadian Championship Wrestling, which is an NWA promotion, which he was an NWA Canadian Junior Heavyweight Champion, a Full Impact Pro Heavyweight Champion, an International Wrestling Association in Puerto Rico's Heavyweight Champion, Memphis Championship Wrestling, which I'm surprised that's on here. Stubborn Light Heavyweight Champion and the Tending Champion, Stubborn Tending Champion with Spanky. I'm trying to remember these as quickly as possible, so I'm apologizing if I'm having quick and slurred speech a little bit. Mid-South Wrestling's Junior Heavyweight Champion, NWA Mid-South Junior NWA Mid-South Southern Heavyweight Champion, Southern Junior Heavyweight Champion, excuse me. The New Japan Pro Wrestling, which is probably a more widely known championship. The IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship, which is a very respected title, ironically with Curryman, which I just actually referenced a little earlier. So he's probably doing the American Dragon days at this point. The best of the American Super Junior 2004 in New Japan. First two-time Pro Wrestling Gorilla Tag Team Champion, and PWA Feud of the Year 2003 with the Authority, Match of the Year with John Cena at SummerSlam, Most Inspirational Champion, Wrestler of the Year 2004, Most Popular 2013, 2014-2013, Winner of the Year 2013, and ranked him #1 in the top 500 wrestlers in the PWA 500 in 2014. And in Pro Wrestling Noah, the GHC Junior Heavyweight Championship, which is a very prestigious title. Pro Wrestling Report, probably not, shouldn't even say, Independent Wrestler of the Year, 10 of the Year, 2006-2012. But Ring of Honor is where he's probably more widely known as a one-time pure championship and champion, and then the pure division basically was more technical wrestling, if anything. Basically, you would have rope breaks, a certain amount of rope breaks. Submissions were only allowed, I believe. I think it was. Let me see. Yeah, the rules of the pure division were pretty simple. Each wrestler would have free rope breaks to chop submission holds and pinfalls during the match. When they got their rope breaks, submissions, and pin attempts, like pinning and submissions on the ropes would be legal at that point. There would be no closed fists in a pure match. Only open hand slaps or chops in the face will be allowed. Punches will basically punch the other part of the body, save for low blows are permitted. The first use will get a warning. Second will cause to be penalized a rope break. That's why the rope breaks are there. If that rope break could be disqualified. Winner will be subject to the count out for this, like in Japan, was a 20 count. And the pure championship could hand on disqualification. So it was probably the best of the best in that division. One-time world ROH World Champion, Survival of the Fittest winner in 2004. Some of these are. I'll skip some of these because some of these are not even that good. But like I said, for WWE, he's the world heavyweight. He's been the world heavyweight champion. The WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which is the WWE title, he's held that 3 times. He's a one-time world heavyweight champion. Currently the Intercontinental Champion, which we talked about. The Tag Team Championship with Kane, Hell No. Team Hell No. United States Champion. Money in the Bank, 2011. 26 Triple Crown, and the 15th Grand Slam, and 12-time Slammy Award winner. I mean, probably the most decorated wrestler on that fucking roster. And I probably just would I probably just lengthened the video just by saying that shit. So basically what we're doing with Daniel Bryan here. Basically just wrote his obituary there at that point. One of the best in the world at what he does right now. Fuck CM Punk. This is the real best in the world, Daniel Bryan, right here. And unfortunately, if that match does not happen, then unfortunately, I can see the Authority stripping him of the championship. And if that was the case, we could have several things happen here. Bad News Barrett could just be awarded the title. I've heard rumors of Stardust facing Barrett for the then vacant title. There could be any part of situations that could happen. So just keep an eye on this match tonight, because anything can happen in this match. And I would not be surprised if Barrett won, or if Daniel Bryan was stripped of the title, just due to his injuries, and he would retire, which would be very unfortunate and a sad note to an end of a hell of a career. And now finally, a match that will not take that long at all, I promise, because, well, if you saw social media last night, Lana posted a Twitter pic of them, of her and Rusev. For those who don't know, they are dating in real life. But just for those who did not know, which is very obvious, but posted a picture of them in some kind of hockey uniform. I don't know what team. I have to look, and I apologize for this, but it's ridiculous to me. And it's not a bad thing, mostly because kayfabe has been long dead. I believe it was a Blackhawks jersey for the NHL. It doesn't look like the Chicago Blackhawks. It looks like a Preds NHL fan. So they're saying crush the Blackhawks, I'm guessing, in this. I don't know. All I do know is, regardless of kayfabe being broken, Lana looks hot as fuck without her hair in a bun and, well, that shoddy lipstick. But with this picture, it ruins the match for a lot of people, including myself, who, and don't get it wrong, we know it's sports entertainment. We know kayfabe is dead. But this character of Rusev and Lana have been heavily pushed ever since, well, actually not ever since his debut in NXT, because he was a solo act for a while, and then they put him with Lana and the rest is history. But for ever since last year's WrestleMania, they have been pushing the fuck out of this team, out of this duo, out of Lana and Rusev, a Rocky IV storyline, which I have been calling it for years, a Rocky IV storyline which culminated at WrestleMania with Rocky Balboa, aka John Cena, overcoming the odds like he always does. And normally breaking kayfabe is not a big deal. It's happened all the time in wrestling. But the fact is, your gimmick is you hate America. Your gimmick is you say, fuck you, America, Russia #1, Iran #1, Atatui, Iron Sheik style. And at this point in time, which is really ironic, you're gimmicked as a Russian, even though technically, in storyline, Rusev is born and raised in Bulgaria. We don't know if that is a true fact or not, but he is a Bulgarian who is now a Russian sympathizer, so technically you are Russian. And that's WWE logic at that point, by the way. So, the point here, which is the most ridiculous bullshit I have ever seen in my life, you make this picture. The only redeeming quality is that Lana looks hot and Lana looks hot as fuck in it. I'm tongue-tied just thinking about it. But the fact is, you are a Russian in storyline. And in storyline, you are having this match tonight, the rematch for the United States Championship. A Russian could win the title again in a Russian chain match. Let me say that again. A Russian chain match. You have fucked up a traditional match which was used by the all-time greats in Ivan Koloff and Bruno Sammartino, Ivan Koloff and Ricky Morton. There are several fucking names that I could write down. And in chain matches in general, the Piper Valentine matches, which were great matches. I mean, hell, Ricky Morton, like I said, Ricky Morton, Ivan Koloff, chain matches in general, just incredible. Actually, just incredible, and Jerry Lynn, surprisingly, in TNA, was a fucking Russian chain match. Which is weird. Why is it a Russian chain match? I'm gonna have to watch that after this, I guess, because I'm fucking confused. Why this is a Russian chain match and not a regular chain match? But the point is, you have basically spoiled the events of this match. And what will happen now is John Cena will beat the ever-loving shit out of Rusev. And I am not a Cena fan. I have criticized Cena ever since the spinner belt was introduced. Not the US spinner, because that was actually pretty cool. But the WWE spinner, I have criticized him since 2005. I have criticized him after WrestleMania 21. I didn't think he was ready at that point. But the fact is, John Cena will win this match, retain his title, and I would not be surprised if they are reprimanded, suspended, or some kind of fine is implemented on them. Because WWE should teach people how to use their WWE social media. It is not just your personal social media, which people need to understand. It is not your personal social media. You have fucked yourself over, and I do not give a fuck about Rusev anymore, at least for this match. I love Rusev in general. I love the gimmick, but you have fucked yourself over by doing this shit. Extreme Rules is tonight, and I honestly hope that we get something good. Otherwise, I can see the network numbers plummeting as we speak.